Hello and welcome back to Authentically Shawna. I'm your host, Dr. Shawna Burke. I am delighted to have Dawn Hoezee on the podcast with me. She is the president and CEO of both VerVita and Contact Reflex Analysis. Under the Contact Reflex Analysis, she's the lead trainer and has mentored other teachers. As she'll tell you in her story, she has the tagline carrying the legacy, shining the light. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
So, let's talk about a brief history of contact reflex analysis and the VerVita brand. We had talked about how you had co founded both of these things with your father, who was the man behind the information, and you were so brilliantly bringing this information through and forward. So, talk to us more about where this all started and where it's going.
Shoot. Okay. Let's start Let's start with CRA and that stands for contact reflex analysis. And contact reflex analysis is a technique and it's a subtle energy technique that my father, I did not co-create that with him. That was totally his genius on his and on him. And that started, over 50, 60 years ago. He was a chiropractor and he was dealing with different things and learning about energy. And he had some stomach issues himself that nobody could figure out what was going on with his stomach. So he had gone to an AK by Dr. George Goodhart seminar, and George wasn't there at that time. A different teacher was working. And so AK is applied kinesiology.
Okay.
And this person worked on him, worked on reflexes, areas in his mouth. And whatever he did, his stomach issues cleared up within 24, 48 hours. And he had worked on them for years. So my dad was going, okay, if there's reflexes there, I know acupuncture has reflexes, but if it did this for me, I am going to get to work and figure all this out. So during that time, he started working with hematologist, another medical doctor, a nurse, an RN, just different people and getting all the pre-tests, post-tests. He started testing reflexes. And when I say the word reflexes, I'm talking about these areas, these points on your body that are, I'll call them portals of energy. So he's testing that energy in those and then finding out where the imbalances are, where the energy was either too much or not enough. And then, okay, there's an imbalance here. This person has symptoms and syndromes. What do we do to bring it back into balance? So then he started matching nutrition with this. And mind you, he was doing all the blood work and urinalysis and different tests pre and post. So that was how contact reflex analysis started. It started with hundreds of reflexes and matching the nutrition to it and paring it down to this many reflexes. And yeah, I got involved. Let's see, I don't even know what year it was, 1989, 1990, where I got involved in going to his seminars. And my goal, even though I was raised with this work, I was a little girl and my dad would say, okay, hold out your arm, let me test this or test that. So I thought that was all normal. Little did I know nobody else had to do that. So I went to one of his seminars and just so much was coming at the people. And I had to learn the work. And it was just overwhelming to me that already knew it, everything. And so I went, I can organize this for you. So I learned it from top to bottom, backwards, forwards, and I organized the reflexes into sequences and patterns. That's where my gift came in. He was the genius. He was the person that understood the body and how it worked together as a whole. He knew the biochemistry of it. And he just saw that person as beautiful and knew how exactly to bring that body into balance so that it could heal. Well, then Dawn comes along and goes, okay, I know how to organize your work. I know how people learn. Let's put this together so that it is teachable and repeatable. So that's when I came in and I started writing his textbooks and made his charts for him, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a very brief overview of contact reflex analysis and how I got involved, as the daughter and how we fit together. We were really a great team when we worked together. He would be able just to look at a person and start testing and know what was wrong. And he would just, this is it. And I would have to go in and explain, let's fill in the pieces, how we got from point A to point B. Because there was a whole lot of processing that went on in his head that he didn't necessarily share. So this is what the body's doing and how it all happened. So it was wonderful, wonderful teaching with him. And let's see, you wanted me to talk about VerVita too?
Yes, please.
All right. VerVita came along in 2009. The economy had tanked just before that, and it was low. And my dad, when he taught CRA, he would uncover reflexes. It's the technique, right? So when you uncover a reflex, an energy portal that is out of balance, it's not at ease, so it's dis-ease, put it together, disease. So if you don't take care of that balance, over time, your body can go into from dis-ease into manifesting disease, right? So what he would do is, now that you've known the imbalance, how do you bring it back to balance? Because our bodies were created to heal. It knows what to do. You cut your finger, you don't have to think twice. It heals. Your body knows how to do that. So when you figure out here's an imbalance, what do you do to bring it back into balance? You have choices like nutrition, the food you eat, essential oils. Sometimes it's as simple as hydration. You need to hydrate, or you need to get out into the sunshine. You need to move, all those things. So my dad for the years has taught, okay, here's the imbalance. Now, how do you use nutrition? How do you use essential oils, technology to bring it back into balance? Well, the companies he worked with for so many years had hundreds of products, hundreds. So then when the economy tanked, the doctors were going, I can't keep this inventory on my shelf. That's just a lot of money sitting on the shelf. And then the patients are coming in going, I'm a family of 4 and I need this. My husband needs something totally different. My 2 kids need this. We can't afford that. And it's just overwhelming. So he, being the genius at understanding how the body works together as a whole, he goes, I can make 10 nutritional supplements because I understand the biochemistry of the body. I understand what happens when you put a little bit of this along with a little bit of that. There's a synergy. 2 parts. The total is greater than the sum of the 2 little parts. And so he created 10 nutritional supplements, 6 essential oils doing the same thing, testing the energy, putting little bits of this and that, so that it addressed not just one thing in the body, but systems of the body. So a lot of times you can go to the store and you can get your vitamin D. All right, you're low on vitamin D. But do you know if you have too much vitamin D or not enough of this, it's going to draw on other vitamins and minerals so that it works. Nothing in our body works in isolation, and that's exactly where he was the genius. Do not just take one thing, understand how it works together as a whole. So, it could be sometimes people do need just a tinge of this or a tinge of that, but most of the time it's, hey, work with how the body works and how the body works chemically. So that's when he, in 2009, said, let's figure out these formulas. And the 10 formulas he created back in 2009 are still the formulas that VerVita has now, those 10 nutritional supplements. And we make them and always have the highest quality ingredients that we can get. They have to be able to work together as a whole. Typically, when you get nutrition, they run through these machines and you have to have added fillers and flow agents to go through. We have worked really hard not to have fillers or flow agents, and we had to figure out what to use nutritionally that would act as the flow agent and the body would use it. So that is one beautiful thing that we do. We don't have any of the allergens. The most common allergens, they're so clean. They really, really are clean. And the products, they just, healing happens. Healing happens. The results show themselves, right? So we get so many compliments just from health professionals and patients going, we just test them. And when I say test them, a lot of these people are testers in the energy field they test, and we can test all different kinds of supplements, nutrition, liquids, you name it. And VerVita always comes out in the top, right up in the top ones. And so Going back to CRA is able to test the energies of anything. Anything. So if you have a favorite shampoo, if you have a favorite multivitamin you use, whatever, you can test it and hopefully it is wonderful energy. There's many good things out there. And then just because it's good doesn't always mean your body wants it. So that's another thing that CRA helps you figure out. Number one, only pick the good things. Number two, those good things, what do you need? What do you actually need and will be beneficial to you? So, in a way, not in a way, definitely, CRA and VerVita, they work together. They are two totally separate companies. Contact reflex analysis, CRA wellness, is the technique that my father developed. It's the educational arm on how to find the root cause of what's going on in a body. And then VerVita is the nutritional supplement essential oil company that was created as a tool to bring the body back into balance. So it's one of the many ways that can be used as a tool and give the body resources. I like to say that. Give the body resources it needs to heal. So that's kind of the summary of CRA and VerVita. I'm busy.
Unique about this is that a lot of times people have a technique or they have a product. And so what connects these two is these are both the same idea.
And it's wonderful too because people will say only VerVita I'm like, when the doctors come to a CRA seminar and learn, yes, I teach, the other doctors teach how to use VerVita. Number one, it's a great product, great results. You are going to get results. But let's say somebody comes in, even patients who I have seen, they'll say, I use this. Well, let's test it. Great, you do need that. That's something that is beneficial to you. So CRA, I have doctors come in, not even doctors, they're doctors and nurses, nurse practitioners, doctors of physical therapy, have a lot of different kinds of health professionals they come. And what I can say to them is use CRA and as the menu, open up your toolbox. What do you do? What do you do? Now add it to the menu of what you can offer to your patient for healing. I know one of my favorite people, I'm going to plug him, is Dr. George Gonzalez with quantum neurology. Love him.
Yes.
Okay, so in CRA, contact reflex analysis, there's an imbalance there. And let's say it's structural imbalance. I can test using CRA. Do they need an adjustment? Do they need technology to bring the body back into balance? QN. Yep, that is exactly what the body needs. So find a QN practitioner. The emotional component of healing. Oh, we could talk forever on that aspect of it. And the essential oils are wonderful too for that. But CRA is going to go, okay, we're in the emotional aspect. Here's the imbalance. How do we bring it back into balance? Okay, let's bring in VerVita, nutrition, essential oils, which one? How about NET? And the body will tell you, you need, yep, let's see if you can get some sessions with NET or tapping, or there's a variety of different things. So, health professionals, open up your toolbox. Don't let them be wasted. Any of the tools, any of your genius, use that, and CRA will help you figure out which tool to use, the right thing at the right time so healing can occur. And Shawna, I know you have your own toolbox. And so we could talk about that and what tools you have to use. And it's not just nutrition essential oils. Let's open it up.
Absolutely. So I started at the Cone Health Institute as a patient, and my main practitioner is Dr. Christine Cone, who I know you know.
Yes.
And as I got licensed, she said, I need you to go learn CRA because you need a base, a mainframe for all these techniques that you know. Because now you know a bunch of techniques and you know a bunch of strategies, but how do you know which one to do? How do you know the order? And so for her, it was so important to have a system like contact reflex analysis that is your mainframe so that you can build in all of your other techniques that you know into it.
And that's a beautiful thing. It's a system in its own right that my
Yes.
dad developed, but it certainly opens up to the tools and genius of other people's too, which I love. I love that.
I want to talk about one of the things that we talked about in your seminar. One of your dad's main ideas is this idea of being heart centered. Our culture tells us to be brain centered. And I get pulled in that direction often. And it's a big check for me to go back and think, where is my heart in this? And so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about your dad's idea of the heart as the center of our lives.
Yeah, sure. I think being heart centered, people just think, oh, you have to be loving and kind. You have to feel in your heart and how to go. And it's very esoteric, which, sure, it can be. It can be, right? But bottom line is science has shown that the heart creates much more energy than any other part of the body. It emits an energy field that is probably it's anywhere between 60 and 100 times more than that of the brain, which is secondary for creating energy. So, backing up just a hint, our body is energy. Energy flows through every organ, gland, cell, and system. Primary energy generators in creating this energy is your heart, number one, your brain, number two. So you've got this heart that is just the energy generator of health and healing and everything that your body has to do to function. My dad called it the queen bee. The heart is the queen bee. And the analogy behind that is the queen's job is to make sure bee life continues, right? So all the other bees, worker bees, serve the queen. If the queen has a need, they will go out to do whatever they need to do, bring her the whatever she needs. They will even sacrifice themselves for that queen. Well, our hearts are the same way. If this heart has lower energy because it's a tired, energetically tired heart, the other parts of the body will go, queen's tired, let's work overtime. We will produce more energy or we will sacrifice our nutrients or energy or whatever it is to make sure that that heart has what it needs to beat one day longer, okay? So, if you think about it, your heart's primary, your brain is secondary. So I'm sure many of the listeners here have had a time where you can't sleep. Your brain just keeps going, 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 right? And you can do all those things to calm the brain down. And sometimes they work because that's just what it is. Something you're you're perseverating on or you're trying to figure out. That is definitely up in your head, right? But there's times when people go, I've tried everything from the natural stuff of, let's just say, warm milk to I've done the melatonin or my doctor prescribed this and nope, it'll put me out and I wake right up. I can't sleep. Well, bottom line is through CRA and trying to figure, Dr. Versatile talks about the heart. A lot of times it's the heart is exhausted. So you support the heart in whatever way it needs, nutritionally, essential oils, food, exercise, hydration, emotional work, you name it. You support that heart and the brain goes, oh, thank you. I have been working so hard to create energy to support that heart. Now I can rest. So if your brain is working overtime, it might, not always, but it might be because it's working overtime to support that queen, that heart. If you think about it, we all die of heart failure. Our heart stops. Not necessarily fails, it stops. It's done. It's beat its last. You can be brain dead, but still keep going. Your heart is going. So it's when that heart beats its last and everything else goes, I no longer have to do the work. The queen is done. So if you think about the heart and how we move into the heart, how is the heart? How is the energy? The heart also has its own brain. It stores memories. You think about those things that have been very painful in life, and it could be physically painful, could be in a car accident, could be a surgery, it could be emotionally painful, where you have had a loss of a loved one, a loss of a relationship, a job. All those things hit your heart. And a healthy heart takes those things and it's like, "Oh, that hurts." And then there's a process of healing that happens. But sometimes that pain, that painful energy, because it creates an energy, of pain and it remembers, and that heart can't get past that. And it's stuck in that memory of pain, of loss. Then what does that brain do? It starts working overtime to go, all right, keep going. No, 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 no. Not that hole. Don't go in that hole. No hidey holes for you. No, you got to get up to work. You got to get up to, and that brain starts going and going and going. And my dad would say it becomes a warden, not because it's cruel, it's mean, but because that heart and brain have this relationship, in a healthy relationship where they work together in synchrony, not one over the other, but together with the heart as the lead because it's queen. All right, healthy relationship. So if that heart is broken, hurt, that brain sometimes goes as a warden. Get up, get going. And it can be cruel, it can be mean, not because it wants to. It doesn't have this, I want to be mean, but it's a way to get that heart going and beating again. So a lot of work has to be done first to heal the heart and then to heal the brain, because if that heart can't release emotions, that brain is not going to release the emotions. It doesn't start with the head. You can do head all day long, but it doesn't get down to the heart. One of the phrases is you can't logic somebody out of their emotions.
Yeah.
You cannot logic somebody out of their emotions. The emotions just run so much more quickly through that body's nervous system. And if you want to think about trying to logic a child who's going through an emotional temper tantrum, now, quiet down. Why are you so upset? Because I wouldn't give you that sucker. Really, you're making a big deal out of this. You don't logic. And how does anybody feel if you are just feeling horrible and somebody goes, why are you making a big deal out of that? I think that would raise my energy to just, don't logic. So, bottom line, it's back to the heart. And so, when you said in the beginning being heart centered, it's start with the heart. If you're making an important decision, don't just be brain, don't just be heart. Make sure it's a healthy decision where those two are in sync. If it's in sync and you know the answer, that brain will give you the logic why it's the good answer, and the heart will go, this is what I want. This is what I want. I actually made a decision not too long ago where I was thinking about the decision and my heart knew the answer and my brain could not figure it out until later.
Mm.
My brain was like, "What? I don't get it. I do not understand it." So, you know, there's the 2.
That's the wisdom of this system. I think his big vision was, how do I help people get back in tune with themselves?
Mhm.
For me personally, too, is the less out of sync I can be in all this chaos, the more in sync I can be with myself, the more I can resolve things. The less little fires are going on, the more I can understand as a whole what's going on and use my heart as my guide.
Right. And I think too, one of the important things that I encourage people do is honor your heart. Our brain a lot of times will say, "Will you get over it? That was 15 years ago." Or "Get over it. It wasn't that big of a deal," or whatever. What the heart just needs is just to be heard a lot of times. And sure, there's a point where the heart just meh, 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 but then it's how do we help you release heart? Because obviously you're captive into that thought. So that's a whole different thing. But sometimes it's almost like when I work with myself or somebody else, something will come up and I feel it in my chest. I just feel it in my heart. And I'll put my hand right over my heart and then I'll go, okay, what's going on? And then I just wait. I just wait. Sometimes I can wait for minutes, and suddenly it's almost like, boom, there's the answer. And it's allowing my heart to speak. So how many people have allowed their hearts to speak? It's kind of a fun something to think about. What would your
Yeah.
heart say if you allowed it to speak? If you gave it time to speak and then you listened without judgment? It's almost like having a two-way conversation, brain, heart, brain, heart, brain, heart. It is a two-way conversation, but making sure
Yes.
the brain doesn't overpower the.
And that's not lost on modern medicine. We just don't know quite how to resolve that. I mean, like, not that I love statistics, but in current American culture, 1 in 3 women die of heart disease.
Yep.
That's staggering. That's the largest disease that takes women off the planet. And why is that? Why is this affecting women so greatly? And I think that this plays a big role in that statistic.
Yeah. Women, we were created to be nurturers, to be people who love. And that just because we're a nurturer doesn't mean we can't be business women and work and feel, oh, absolutely not. But a lot of part of being a woman is to have that nurturing, caring attitude. And I don't care if you're the most right brain person, logical science, there is still that part of you, that female essence that is very caring and nurturing. We can stifle it all we want to. And bottom line, I want to say we shouldn't want to. We shouldn't want to. But the stress of being all things to all people is really hard on women now. What is the role
Yeah.
of women? You can do what you want. There's nothing stopping any woman out there. There really isn't anymore. I look at it's like I have no roadblocks. Let's just go. But I get the world is my smorgasbord. God has opened so much up. What do I want to pick? Everything. Well, you can't. And so women, what do you want to do, women? For me, it's like I want to run my businesses. I've raised 4 children. I did this and I married. Yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going. For me, I'm actually glad there's only 24 hours in a day because if there were 36, I'd shove more in.
You would.
I would.
I can say
I
that.
would.
You would.
So I think with women, it's loving themselves and listening to their hearts and going, okay, you have to fill yourself up first. Find out what you're passionate about. And if you're like me, you're passionate about so many things, and it's all good things and beautiful things. But also, if your heart goes, I'm hurting about something, me, I go, suck it up, buttercup, let's go. You've got too many things. And that's not the right way to go. It's slow down and go, okay, heart. Let's have a chat. What can I do to support you? For me, it's often a bath with some essential oils. That's where I'll soak.
Let's talk more about taking care of ourselves because a big part of taking care of ourselves is having a first aid kit, having things at home, things that we know. What products in the VerVita line do you reach for when you feel something acute coming on? What are the things that you go to knowing that you're having a dip in energy?
Okay, let's see. Supplement wise, it would be Circutonic, Inspiracell, Calms. Circutonic, Inspiracell, and Calms. Those are my go tos. And I'll tell you why. So I love Circutonic and Inspiracell as a combo for me. And I would recommend it for anybody because Inspiracell does that. It inspires the cells. It works on supporting the neurotransmitters of the brain. So it supports this brain function and focus. And the brain being secondary to the heart, it also supports the heart. So you've got this energetic mitochondria energy creation from the Inspira cell. It also works on adrenals in that area. I like that I'll just kinda shift with Inspiracell. I went hiking this past summer in Glacier National Park, and one of the thing I took on one of a major hike it was 11 miles, high in the mountains, whatever, and I took Inspiracell with me because that's what I knew would be needed to inspire the cells, keep that energy going. So, yeah, I think I took 3 before I went, and then it was brutal about, 5 miles up, whatever, and so I took a couple more, and then before I came back down, took a couple more. It was great. So that is my energy for brain and heart. Then Circutonic, I love that one because it is a balancer to that. It provides the nutrients for helping the detox organs do their work, like your liver, your kidneys, and even your bladder, but it also supports the immune system. in there. So you've got your energy producers, and as you produce energy, your body's going, yeah, I got this good energy, and it's releasing and it's detoxing as it should. So then the Circutonic helps that. So between Inspire Cell and Circutonic, those are my go-tos. I said calms because sometimes it's just, we talked about the heart, you can't sleep because of that. No, well, for me, my brain just keeps creating, keeps creating, keeps creating. And so it's kind of like, we're just going to help you calm down tonight and we're going to, use the calms. And that's calms with a K. So those are my go-tos. If something is going on, like I start feeling a scratchy throat or sore throat or I'm getting run down, then, oh, definitely immune armor. I will go for that. And that supports the spleen, the thymus, and it has the echinacea, all kinds of herbs and vitamins in it. It's really powerful for that. So those are the nutritional supplements I have. And then there's the whole essential oil line. I mean, is there one I don't use? No, I use them all. I use them all and just at different times. So, yeah, there's my go-tos.
I want to talk more about female health because I know you're a big proponent of female health. We talked about supporting the body pre menstruation and post menstruation, and there is an oil that you use for that. Could you tell us what you recommend as a general guideline for menstruating
Okay,
bodies?
there's a variety of different ways. Which one was I talking about for that?
Black
That's what
cumin,
I was gonna say. There's also Royal Wonder that helps the supports hormones too. Black cumin is the phrase from
one second.
years ago is cures everything but death. So I wouldn't say it does that, but it is a very beautiful, powerful oil. And we use black cumin, I would say, within the whole context of women and menstruation and going through different things. You have to have healthy blood to have healthy hormones. So if your blood is not healthy, then your hormones are not going to get what they need nutrient wise, resource wise to build healthy hormones. So you back up instead of working on the hormones, you back up and you work on the blood and having healthy blood. So black cumin is one of those oils that works to do that and support that. One of the beautiful ways of doing that is to take it orally. You can take 3, 4, 5 drops orally in food or juice a couple times a day, rubbing it into your right rib cage for, let's say, your liver, gallbladder, your left rib cage, which would be spleen. And that's your immune system too, healthy blood. If you're having a menstrual cycle and you have pain, I would rub the black cumin right into that lower abdomen and even get into a bath with the black for that. And what I would add for pain is sore to sore. That is another essential oil in there because that's anti-inflammatory and it takes the inflammation down. So that's all great for working with the body as it works. But after a woman has her menstrual cycle, when it's finished, then replenish that blood, take a bath with the black cumin in it, and it replenishes all the nutrients that your blood can have. And so that the cycle can become regular again. So that would be the essential oil. The other one we had talked about was Royal Wonder, and that also has benefits for balancing, helping your body balance the hormones on it too. And that's something you can just use every day. Helps with the emotions, works with people who have dealt with trauma. And so it's not even just if you've never had trauma in your life, it's like, thank God. Now, if you need hormone, it helps with the hormones. So it's so multi-purpose and multifaceted on that.
And then I want to talk about a topical that you guys have because let's talk about bodies that are going through perimenopause and menopause. And we had a chat, a little fireside chat with you at the conference about some of your topicals to use on tissues. And so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about those products that support our more delicate vulvar tissues.
Yes. Uh, the products that I think you're talking about is the Nuvage.
Yes.
Got it. Yes. Nuvage is, we have two of them, Natural Balancing Cream and Nuvage. They are identical, except the Nuvage has some essential oils that are very healing to fine tissues. So it was created for the woman in mind with the very delicate vaginal tissues, and you have the atrophy. You can have tearing, that different things like that. One person just contacted me. It was a doctor, and she said my patient had lichen sclerosis and used the Nuvage and just healed. So amazing. She was so happy about that one. And it's because the Nuvage, you can apply it down below your privates area, and it doesn't get site saturation because it just keeps absorbing it. You can put it on your arms. Some of the things you have to rotate, but this you do not have to do that. And you can put it right there, and it softens, it lubricates, it nourishes, and it heals. So it's very powerful for that. And the natural balancing cream, we're talking about women, you can use that too. It just does not have the essential oils in it that the natural balancing does. Women can use either or. I love the natural balancing for men. Men, they rub it into their scrotum and it supports them hormonally as well. The example that I give is one gentleman came to me and his prostate always swelled when he traveled long distances in the car, and the prostate would just swell, and it was horrible. You can't urinate when it's swollen. So he used the natural balancing cream, rubbed it in the scrotum, no problem the entire time. It just nourished, hydrated, kept it there. And some men and women tell stories, wonderful stories. Dr. Rita Goldman told story about natural balancing cream. She lovingly has terms for it and helps in the bedroom. So she would tell stories about how natural balancing helps her man in the bedroom, and friends help the man in the bedroom and stuff. So it's always fun if you can ever hear her talk.
I wanted to ask more about your oils and how they're different. And I wanted to preface it by stating I don't believe, and maybe you know this better, but I don't believe there's many oils that are so multifactorial and multi-use. So you had mentioned this, but I wanted you to talk a little bit more. So you can use your oils orally, you can use it topically, you can use it in a bath. Like I don't hear that often that you can use your oils in so many different ways. And I think that's why I'm so drawn to it is it's so multi-purpose so that when you're in an acute situation or a first aid situation, you have multiple options in your tool belt. It just gives you so many ways to use a tool.
Right. And I don't necessarily know if other companies, they don't say you can't, but they just don't teach how to use them, right? And VerVita, this comes back to CRA, the training part of it, how to do something. So when I'm teaching, I will say, all right, when you're working with a patient, determine, what's the best way for them to use it. Do they want to take it orally by mouth? Or do you want to use it topically, add it to a foot bath or a bath? Do you want to diffuse it, right? Diffuse it in your room, all those different areas. And people are going, oh, wow, really? I can do all of those? Yes, you can do all of them, any of them, some of them. Yeah, VerVita is really good. And so taking it orally, the ingredients in each of the oils in the VerVita products are on the GRAS list, generally regarded as safe to ingest. It's kind of like a foods list. So it's on that list. And so you can. Now, do I say take 3 bottles of sort? No, don't do that. We're talking drops. We're talking drops.
Right.
And I would say take it with food or juice, so it's not on an empty stomach, and not necessarily because it can harm you, but it is powerful, and let it work with the other nutrients of food. So eat some healthy food. Give the body the nutrients, the resources it needs, along with if you're taking supplements or essential oils, whatever. So yeah, you can take it orally. Uh, Topically, if you're going, where do I put this? What are you working on? Do you have a headache? Put it where it hurts. Do you have a backache? Put it where it hurts. Do you have a stomach ache? Put it where it hurts. You're feeling anxious. Where does that anxious feeling present itself? Throat, chest, lower back? Put it there. Just start. Again, Shawna, you had said earlier, listen to the body. It's amazing how your body will speak if you just take the time. I had a patient call me up one time and she said, "Is this weird? Feeling like my knees want immune harmony." I just started laughing. And I said, "What do you mean your knees feel like it?" She goes, "I don't know. It's just this feeling that I have. I want to put immune harmony on my knees." And I said, "Do it. Do it, because the knees are energetically connected to your adrenals, and immune harmony supports your adrenals. So if your body's saying put it on the knees, it's telling you, hey, we might be working on the adrenals there. So you don't always have to know why. And I love to say that essential oils are safe. You're really not going to muck it up. Don't make it rocket science when it doesn't need to be.
Yep.
For safety of it, if you're worried going, "I just have never used it before," great. Welcome to the essential oil world, and start small. So if you wanna put it on, let's say, start on your wrist. We don't dilute any of this stuff, so put it on your wrist. If it gets even a little bit pink, it shouldn't, but if it does, wait till it's healed and then add it to some cream or lotion. Dilute it. Dilute it in your favorite cream, lotion, oil, you name it. It is rare when somebody has to do that, but it's great to know because I don't want anyone to go, "I don't wanna use it because I'm afraid." They're so powerful and for the most part, very safe. And with anything, if you get a side effect of it, stop. Don't do that. Don't do that. And don't
Absolutely.
do the less is more. I did have one woman who she used, I think it was Immune Harmony, and she doused her whole body with it straight on topically. Well, her body got red and it was like, oh, it started detoxing through her skin. Well, she thought less was more. So she kept going, stop. It was too much, too much. So she was able to stop and then come back. So I say these things not to make people afraid, but to say, no, it is very safe to use. Start low. One drop, different parts of the body. If you want to take a bath in it, put 5 drops in it. Start low and enjoy the healing benefits of that. It's when you start going crazy, like this person who put it all over her body, not even in a bath, but just drenching her body all over. Well, okay, you might have a problem then.
One thing Dr. Christine taught me was with your essential oils, you put the essential oil on top of the Epsom salt, it absorbs it, and then you put it in your bath, and it's more potent that way. So that's just a little tip from Dr. Christine is especially if you're gonna use VerVita, which is what I generally get recommended when I see her for a bath is, we're putting the VerVita onto an Epsom salt and then I'm throwing it into
Yeah,
my bath.
and the reason is that because oil and water doesn't mix. So you dump the Epsom salt in the bath first with no water, put the oils on top of it so it soaks into the salt, and then add the water. So if you add the oil later, it just kind of floats, and that's not necessarily
That's on top.
bad. It's not wrong, it's not bad. It's just when you get in, swirl it around you so the oil isn't just sitting on your kneecap as you're sitting in the bathtub. That's a nice trick that, Christine had taught you, and that's correct.
Is there anything that you'd like to add to our conversation that I haven't asked you about the VerVita and CRA world?
One thing, and have you taught anybody about the emotions in the essential oils?
I haven't, but I'd love for you to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Because with the essential oils, there's 6 of them, 7 now with the Royal Wonder, and when they're created, I put a word to each one of the essential oils. So sometimes you can read paragraphs about it. Okay, this does this. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiparasitic, it's anti-anxiety, it's all these beautiful things. So when do I need it? When do I need? And I told you Dr. Versendaal created these formulas, little bits of this, and it's very unique in how he put this together to be balanced energetically. So I'm just going to go through the oils and I'll give you
I love
we
that.
have I'll name the essential oils: Elite Harmony, Immune Harmony, Soar to Soar, Black Cumin, Present Moment, Heart Harmony, and Royal Wonder. Okay, I just named 7. How do I know when to use them? All right, now I'm going to give you some words, and you tell me which word resonates most with you. All right? So We're gonna do this with you, Shauna. Here we go.
Okay.
Which chaos, overwhelm, pain, melancholy, scattered thoughts, heartbreak, trauma,
Melancholy.
melancholy. The essential oil that goes with it, or the oil that goes with that, is black cumin. So melancholy is somebody that they're kind of meh. I call it the meh season. Meh. I feel meh. And really, it's stuffed emotions. It's not that you don't have them. It's because they're stuffed emotions. So, where do you stuff those emotions? In your gut, right? So, black cumin, if it matches, I would say, Shauna, let's work with some black cumin. And then let's take some orally, rub it into your stomach. You can add it to your bath. You can add it to a foot bath. What would you love to do? Add some Epsom salt soak. And then ask your heart, what needs to be released? What are you stuffing that is just not what you want to deal with right now? But unstuff it. Use and the black cumin would be it. Let's just change it up. Somebody says chaos. Chaos is the word. Elite Harmony matches the word chaos because it actually is a blend of the other 5 original oils. So if you don't know what to do, which one to pick, Elite Harmony is going to cover all of the others. It doesn't have the Royal Wonder in it, but it has all the other 5 in it. Very powerful essential oil blend with so many things in it. It deals with the chaos of your life, the dis-ease that's going on, helping you do that. Overwhelm is immune harmony. So if your life is you're like, I'm in overwhelm, that is the word that resonates with me, immune harmony. And you think of overwhelm and flood and waters and okay, I'm drowning in overwhelm. It goes to the kidneys and it goes to the bladder. It supports your immune system. It supports your adrenals. So that's immune harmony with overwhelm. Then the next word is pain, sore to sore. And I don't care if it's physical pain or emotional pain. Sore to sore matches that. And very powerful there. Melancholy, we just did that. Melancholy goes with black cumin. The next one was scattered thoughts, present moment, bringing you back to the moment. All right. Sometimes people can have heartbreak, which is that next word, and then you need heart harmony. But present moment, sometimes heartbreak and trauma and things that are going on gets to the brain. Your brain can't release it. That's if your brain can't release it and it's scattered thoughts, it's all over, use the present moment. And then you get to the heartbreak. If the heart can't release it, then it's heart harmony. So everybody should be working on their heart, the queen bee. Heart harmony should be every single day. Keep that queen bee happy, keep that queen bee strong, and then everything else, okay, when you need something else, do it. The royal wonder I had earlier said that's trauma. And so that was created actually for me after my dad was killed in the car accident. And I had to go through and I felt melancholy and I couldn't move past it. So okay, God, what do I do? What do I do? Let's do something creative. Let's do something. And I was the one that created the Royal Wonder, and it turned out to be so fabulous. It's beautiful in how it smells, but very powerful in helping your body release the trauma, the energy of the trauma. And it's a built-in bonus that I didn't even realize at the time, supporting the hormones. So, yeah, there's the words, there's the matching essential oils for a word, and there's an accordion flyer you and I had talked about that has the word and even some places you can put the essential oils on and how to use it. So, yeah, that's the one thing that I wanted to share because it's so powerful and easy for people to use and figure out.
Which is our goal, and so, the last thing I wanted you to share on it was this new thing that you're bringing into the CRA world, which is teaching we call them lay people, right? People who aren't practitioners, how to take care of themselves. I know that's the mission that we're both on, and so tell people how they can do that and how people can interact with both CRA and VerVita.
We're starting something brand spanking new. It's called CRA for the Family, and it's one day where we're teaching how to muscle test, the technique itself, how to feel the energy, how to connect with reflexes, which I said earlier was energy portals of the body, and figure out where imbalances are. If the energy is flowing balanced through everything, great. But the arm will shift. It will show you where energy imbalances are. So that's what the class is going to be teaching, how to do that, how to connect with these reflexes. And then you don't stop there. Okay, what do I do? There's an imbalance. What do I do? Then it's teaching you, what do you do to bring it back into balance? And it uses VerVita nutrition, the essential oils. There's technology called the SRT technology. So it's going there to get tools so you can go home and deal with the normal things of family life, right? Where you don't want to have to go to the doctor for every little thing. Okay, you're feeling a little bit of a sore throat. Do you really want to go to the doctor? I'm not saying don't, but some people are like, what do I do? Because I know my body was created to heal. It has a powerful immune system. How do I support that so I don't end up having to go to the doctor? Do some testing. Find out what brings your body back into balance and how are you going to support that immune system so it's powerful and strong and your body can heal with grace and ease. So that's what this class is about. The next one will be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We're thinking about South Carolina in January. That's not on yet, but we're thinking about that. So go to crawellness.com. That's crawellness.com. And then look under the tab where it says CRA training, and it should have underneath where you can get where the locations are and where you can go. So the first one's filled up within 2 weeks, and this one will fill up within 2 weeks as well. So they go fast. It's definitely very wonderful training for people, and people are wanting it. And I'm so glad to be able to get the tools and techniques into people's hands so they can deal with it themselves. And then if they need some more help, then they can go to their health professional and go, you know what? I did what I knew how to do, and now it's here. We need your help.
Absolutely. And if someone is a health professional and would like to learn contact reflex analysis, what's the best way for them to do that?
It's crawellness.com. And they can come to the very first introductory if they want to. If you've never done any muscle testing in that, just come to the introductory. That's for anybody and everybody, the CRA for the family. I know next week there's going to be a couple health professionals there and learning the basics. But then after that, there are module 1, module 2, and they're taught in one weekend. And that is for the health professionals. You have to have a minimum of a 4+ year degree and licensed to diagnose and treat to be able to attend those seminars. So would love to have you come on board and experience a CRA weekend in being able to incorporate your own genius into the CRA technique. So want to get this world to be bringing hope and healing into the world using all the tools that we have, the collective tools, the collective genius. I believe CRA can help us do that.
And tell us how people can find the products.
That is through VerVita, and that is vervitaproducts.com. So you can just go right onto the website. You can scroll. Each product will have a flyer, and you can download that flyer and look at all the ingredients on it, description, front and back. So that's right on the website, vervitaproducts.com.
Perfect. I will link all of those. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're listening to Authentically Shawna with Dr. Shawna Burke. The information contained in this podcast is provided for information purposes only and is not intended for the purpose of diagnosing, treating, curing, or preventing any disease. Before using any products or techniques referenced in this podcast, consult your healthcare provider. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast may contain paid endorsements or advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.